The Lion and the Unicorn. Okay. The next moment, soldiers came running through the woods, at first in twos and threes, then 10 or 20 together, and at last in such crowds that they seemed to fill the whole forest. Alice got behind a tree for fear of being run over, and watched them go by. She thought that in all her life she had never seen soldiers so uncertain of their feet. They were always tripping over something or other, and whenever one went down, several more always fell over him. So the ground was soon covered with little heaps of men. Ты такое видела? Такие сцены.
Нет, а ты мне показываешь картинку?
Нет, я тебе рассказываю историю.
Окей. I'm imagining it.
Да, okay. Did you imagine it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's go. The lion and... Was ist das? Зырь. Можно тебя делить, смотри.
Ну. О, бог мой.
Это как я рисую.
О, бог мой.
У меня такие примерно рисунки.
Yeah, that's not what I imagined, actually. Вот это да.
No, what soldiers, lots of them.
Yep.
И она там, ей казалось, что they would run over her.
Стопудово.
Ну, а здесь они не просто run over. No.
Армагеддон. Ну-ну.
Да, exactly. Then came the horses, having 4 feet. This managed rather better than the foot soldiers, but even they stumbled now and then, and seemed to be a regular rule that whenever a horse stumbled, the rider fell off instantly. Ну вот, это то, что там нарисовано. The confusion got worse every moment, and Alice was very glad to get out of the wood into an open place, where she found the white king seated on the ground, busily writing in his memorandum book. Да, все они записывают что-то, кто как я. Да? Да.
Да подожди. Вот. Тебе пока ж найдешь, чтобы unmute сделать. Тогда тебе да.
Вот, а ты меня не мьютай. Тогда будет хорошо все.
Да у меня громко иногда.
Ну ладно. I've seen them all, the king cried in a tone of delight. On seeing Alice. Did you happen to meet any soldiers, my dear, as you came through the wood? Yes, I did, said Alice. Several thousand, I should think. 4,207. That's the exact number, the king said, referring to his book. I couldn't send all the horses, you know, because 2 of them are wanted in the game of chess. And I haven't sent the 2 messengers either. They are both gone to the town. Just look along the road and tell me if you can see either of them. Yeah?
Mhm.
I see nobody on the road, said Alice. I only wish I had such eyes, the king remarked in a fretful tone. To be able to see nobody, and at that distance too. Why? It's as much as I can to see real people by this light. All this was lost on Alice, who was still looking intently, yeah, along the road, shading her eyes with one hand. I see somebody now, she exclaimed at last. But he's coming very slowly, and what curious attitudes he goes into. For the messenger kept skipping up and down and wriggling like an eel as he came along with his great hands spread out like fans on each side. Not at all, said the king. He's an Anglo-Saxon messenger, and those are Anglo-Saxon attitudes. He only does them when he is happy. His name is Hagar. He pronounced
Hugo.
Hagar.
Oh,
Huiga. Not the last one. He promised it so as to rhyme with mayor. Ah, Hagar, mayor. Más o menos. I love my love with an H. Alice couldn't help beginning, because he's happy. I hate him with an H because he's hideous. I fed him with
hideous.
hideous, yeah. I fed him with ham sandwiches and hay. His name is Hagar, and he lives on the hill. The king remarked simply, without the least idea that he was joining the game, while Alice was still hesitating for the name of a town beginning with H. The other messengers, called Hata, yeah, I must, Hata, just like yours. I
My
must,
father.
yeah, your Hata.
Mm.
I must have two, to come and go. One to come and one to go. I beg your pardon, said Alice. It isn't respectable to beg, said the king.
Yep.
I only meant that I didn't understand, said Alice. Why one to come and one to go? Don't I tell you? The king repeated impatiently. I must have two to fetch and carry. One to fetch and one to carry. At this moment the messenger arrived. He was far too much out of breath to say a word. and could only wave his hands about and make the most fearful faces at the poor king.
Faces, not faces.
Faces?
Yes.
What did I say?
Faces. Какашки.
Ага, какашки! Ну да, я их тоже. Fearful, fearful какашки. That's fine. This young lady loves you with an H, the king said, introducing Alice in the hope of turning off the messenger's attention from himself. But it was no use. The Anglo-Saxon attitudes only got more extraordinary every moment, while the great eyes rolled wildly from side to side. Вот, зырь.
А ну,
Ты видишь, как красота.
о боже, какой король.
Шахматный. Ну,
Ага,
да.
супер.
А это кролл?
Угу.
Rabbit. Это
Кролл.
с предыдущей истории?
Из тетради.
Из тетради, точно. Так, это точно кролл. Окей, кролл типа кролл. Окей.
Угу.
You alarm me, said the king. I feel faint. Give me a ham sandwich. On which the messenger, to Alice's great amusement, opened a bag that hung around his neck and handed a sandwich to the king, who devoured it greedily. Yeah? Yeah. Another sandwich, said the king. There is nothing but hay left now. The messenger said, peeping into the bag. Yeah. Hey then, the king murmured, right?
Murmured.
In a faint whisper. Alice was glad to see that it revived him a good deal. There is nothing like eating hay when you are faint, he
Sure.
remarked at her as he munched away. No. I should think for throwing cold water over you would be better, Alice suggested. Or some solvolatil.
What?
Solvolatil. Oh, solvolatile. Whatever.
Это от слова сальвары? Или как?
Solvolatil.
А,
Ich weiß nicht.
Слюноотделительная?
I guess so. Aber ich weiß es nicht. Ну, я так думаю, да. От слюны. Так. I didn't say...
Jesus.
А,
Ну да. Ничего, мы упали. Я же сказала, будет громко.
Воп-воп-воп. I didn't say there was nothing better. Yeah, the king replied. I said there was nothing like it, which
Yes.
Alice did not venture to deny. Who did you pass on the road? The king went on, holding out his hand to the messenger for some more hay. Nobody, said the messenger. Quite right, said the king. This young lady saw him too, so of course nobody walked slower than you. Do you understand
Yes.
the joke? good.
Yes.
Go.
English humor.
Huh?
English humor, yes.
Yeah, English humor. I do my best, the messenger said in a solemn tone. I am sure nobody walks much faster than I do. He can't do that, said the king, or else he'd have been here first. However, now you've got your breath, you may tell us what happened in the town. I'll whisper it, said the messenger, putting his hands in his mouth and in the shape of a trumpet.
Two.
Huh?
Trumpet too?
Trumpet, but here it's trumpet.
Oh.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
I'm old, and and stupid,
So?
and so as to get close to the king's ear. Alice was sorry for this, as she wanted to hear the news too. However, instead of whispering, he simply shouted at the top of his voice, "They are at it again! Do you call that a whisper?" Cried the poor kid, jumping up and shaking himself. If you do such a thing again, I'll have you buttered. And it went through and through my head like an earthquake. It would have to be a very tiny earthquake, thought Alice. Who are at it again? She ventured to ask. Why, the lion and the unicorn, of course, said the kid. Fighting for the crown? Yes, to be sure, said the kid. And the best of the joke is that it's my crown all the while. Let's run and see them. And they trotted off. Alice repeated to herself, and she ran. The words of the old song, like the lion and the unicorn were fighting for the crown. The lion beats the unicorn all round in the town. Yeah?
Yeah?
Some gave them white bread, some gave them brown, some gave them plum cake, and drummed them out of town. Yeah! Does the one that wins get the crown? She asked, and as well as she could, for the run was putting her quite out of breath.
Breath.
Breath. Dear me, no, said the king. What an idea! Right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Would you be good enough, Alice panted out after running a little further, to stop a minute just to get one breath again? I'm good enough, the king said, only I'm not strong enough. You see, a minute goes by fearfully quick, and you might as well try to stop a bandersnatch. Yeah,
A what?
a bandersnatch.
What is it?
Who hell knows? Next. Alice had no more breath for talking. So they trotted on in silence, till they came in sight of a great crowd, in the middle of which the lion and the unicorn were fighting. They were in such a cloud of dust that at first Alice could not make out which was which. Mm, but she soon managed to distinguish the unicorn by his horn. Yeah?
His horse?
Horn! No!
Yep.
By his horn. Yeah. They placed themselves close to where Hatta, the other messenger, was standing watching the fight with a cup of tea in
Just like
one
myself.
hand and a piece of bread and butter in the other. Yeah, just like you.
No.
No? With a cup
No.
of tea,
Mm-hmm.
but without bread and butter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Where is your bread and butter?
I don't know.
Make it up.
I don't want. It's not morning. Let's go.
It's not morning yet.
Exactly.
Already. He's only just out of prison, and he hadn't finished his tea when he was sent in. Hagar, whispered to Alice, and they only give them oyster shells in there. So you see, he's very hungry and thirsty. How are you, dear child? He went on, putting his arm affectionately round Hatta's neck. Hatta looked round and nodded. Nodded. Noodled. Okay. Hatta looked round and nodded, and went on with his bread and butter. Were you happy in prison, dear child? Said Hagar. Hatta looked round once more, and this time a tear or two trickled down his cheek. But not a word would he say. Speak, can't you? Hagar cried impatiently. But Hatta only munched away and drank some more tea. Speak, won't you? Cried the king. How are they getting on with the fight? Hatta made a desperate effort and swallowed a large piece of bread and butter. They are getting on very well, he said in a choking voice. Each of them has been down about 87 times. And here is a picture.
What is lion doing? Pooping?
Yeah.
He should lick his tail.
They are fighting. He's fighting with a unicorn.
I don't see a unicorn.
He's over here.
Ah.
I see the horn. But not the horse. No, the pony.
Okay.
He's holding the unicorn's muzzle. That looks like that, but it's just a piece of bread. Just
Cantaloupe.
Ah?
Looks like cantaloupe.
Exactly.
Или watermelon.
Then I suppose they'll soon bring the white bread and the brown, Alice ventured to remark. It's waiting for 'em now, said Hatta. This is a bit of it, as I'm eating. Um, there was a pause in the fight just then, and the lion and the unicorn sat down, panting, while the king called out. 10 minutes allowed for refreshments. Hagar and Hatta set to work at once, carrying around trays of white and brown bread. Alice took a piece to taste, but it was very dry. I don't think they'll fight any more today, the king said to Hatta. Go and order the drums to begin. And Hatta went bounding away like a grasshopper. For a minute or two, Alice stood silent, watching him. Suddenly, she brightened up. Look, look! She cried, pointing eagerly. Um, there is the White Queen running across the country. She came flying out of the wood over yonder. How fast those queens can run! Mm, there is some enemy after her, no doubt, the king said, without even looking round. That wood's full of them. But aren't you going to run and help her? Alice asked, very much surprised at his taking it so quietly. No use, no use, said the king. She runs so fearfully quick. You might as well try to catch a bandersnatch,
Mhm.
but I'll make a memorandum about her, if you like. She's a dear good creature, he repeated softly to himself as he opened his memorandum book. Do you spell creature with a double E? At this moment, the unicorn sauntered by them with his hands in his pockets.
Oh,
Uh,
wow.
yeah,
Hands, pockets.
yes,
Okay.
unicorns.
Mm-hmm.
Life is
So
good.
he was going on 2 legs, I'm supposing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, got. Okay.
hmm I had the best of it this time, he said to the kid, just glancing at him as he
Fast.
paused. Okay. Um, paused. Then, a little, the king replied, rather nervously. You shouldn't have run him through with your horse, you know? Mm, I didn't hurt him. The
It
un. Huh?
it didn't hurt him.
It didn't hurt him, the unicorn said carelessly. Um, and he was going on when his eye happened to fall upon Alice. He turned around instantly and stood for some time looking at her with an air of the deepest disgust. What is this? He said at last. This is a child, Hagar replied eagerly, coming in front of Alice to introduce her and spreading out both his hands towards her. in an Anglo-Saxon attitude. Got it? We only found it today. It's as large as life and twice as natural. Mm, I always, it's like an A with a plus. Okay. I always thought they were fabulous monsters, said the unicorn. Is it alive? It can't talk, said Kaiga solemnly. The unicorn looked dreamily at Alice and said, "Talk, child." Alice could not help her lips curling up into a smile as she began. Do you know, I always thought unicorns were fabulous monsters, too. I never saw one alive before. Well, now that we have seen each other, says the unicorn, if you believe in me, I'll believe in you. Is it a bargain? Yes, if you like, said Alice. Come fetch out the plum cake, old man. The unicorn went on, turning from her to the king. None of you your brown bread for me. Certainly, certainly, the king muttered, and beckoned to Hagar. Open the bag.
Бекон?
Beckoned. Oh,
Я не вижу, но
maybe,
бекон это просигнализовать. Бекон.
maybe beckoned. You know, who knows? Open the bag.
Угу.
Did you open your bag?
Угу.
Okay, good girl. He whispered. Quick! Not that one. That's full of hay. Hagar took a large cake out of the bag and gave it to Alice to hold while he got out a dish and carving knife. How they all came out of it, Alice couldn't guess. It was just like a conjuring trick, she thought. Here is a unicorn in two legs,
Ага.
on two legs. And here is a cake, and here is a lion. What is he doing here?
Looks like he's about to die.
Why is he so old?
Ага.
The lion had joined them while this was going on. He looked very tired and sleepy, just like me, after 10 classes, or 11. And his eyes were half shut, but I'm still ready to read something in German in this state.
Oh my god.
Some Schachnovelle. Yeah. I'll die, but I'll read it.
Mm.
What's this? He said, blinking lazily at Alice and speaking in a deep, hollow tone that sounded like a tolling of a great bell. Who's writing here? Kiyama.
Mhm.
No, domani. Oh, dopodomani.
Ой, ой, ой.
Yeah, this is the working week. I mean,
Every week is working week.
yeah, it's not Friday.
Yeah, well, sure.
And nor Thursday. On Thursday evenings, I'm just free, like a bird. But now I'm not a bird.
That is sitting in the cage.
No, that is sitting on his arse.
Ass.
Okay.
Uh,
So, and what is it now? The unicorn cried eagerly. You'll never guess. I couldn't. The lion looked at Alice warily.
Really?
Warily.
Ah,
Um, are you animal or vegetable? Vegetable or mineral? He said, yawning at every other word. Are you animal? No, vegetable.
nothing
Or a
special. Are you edible?
or mineral. Yeah?
Mm,
Are you edible?
I don't know. Never tried myself.
Yeah, you didn't try yourself.
I think I am for the lion.
Yeah. It's a fabulous monster, the unicorn cried out before Alice could reply. Then hand around the plum cake, monster, the lion said, lying down and putting his chin on his horn. Ah? Okay. Uh, без дуда?
Ты чё материшься? Да, пизду, да.
No. Ich spreche Deutsch. Bist du da?
Und noch einmal.
Ja. Bist du da?
И noch einmal. Все равно звучит матерственно.
Ja.
Особенно быстро.
Bist du da? Are you пизда?
Exactly. How it sounds.
It's German. You should get used to it. You've already been studying it like for 10 years, so
Yeah. Yep.
you gotta get used to it. Then hand around the plum cake monster, the lion said, lying down and putting his chin on his paws. And sit down. I'm not down. Both of you. To the king and the unicorn. Fair play with the cake, you know. The king was evidently very. Why are you laughing?
I'm not. I'm listening. Что с
Okay.
Кингом было?
The king was evidently very uncomfortable at having to sit down between the two great creatures, but there was no other place for him. What a fight we might have for the crown now, the unicorn said, looking slyly up at the ground, which the poor king was nearly shaking off his head. He trembled so much. I should win easy, said the lion. I'm not so sure of that, said the lion. Why, I beat you all around the town, you chicken, the lion replied angrily, half getting up as he spoke. Here the kid interrupted to prevent the quarrel going on. He was very nervous, and his voice quite quivered. Yeah, quivered? Quivered. Quite quivered. All round the town, he said, That's a good long way away. Did you go by the old bridge? Or the marketplace? You get the best view by the old bridge. I'm sure I don't know, the lion growled, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
out, as he lay down again. There was too much dust to see anything. What a time the monster is, cutting up that cake. Mm. Mhm. Alice had seated herself on the bank of a little brook with the great dish on her knees and was sewing um, away delightedly with the night. Haha. Yeah, it's very provoking, she said in reply to the lion. She was getting quite used to being called a monster. I have cut several slices already, but they always turn on again. Mmm, you don't know how to manage looking glass cakes, the unicorn remarked. Hand it round first and cut it afterwards. Got it?
Yep.
Yep. This sounded nonsense, but Alice very obediently got up and carried the dish round, and the cake divided itself into three pieces, and as she did so, and now cut it up, said the lion, as she returned to her place with an empty dish. I said, "This isn't fair," cried the unicorn, as Alice sat with the knife in her hand, very much puzzled how to begin. "The monster has given the lion twice as much as me. She's kept known for herself anyhow," said the lion. "Do you like plum cake, monster?" But before Alice could answer him, the drums began. Where the noise came from, she couldn't make out. The air seemed full of it, but it ran through and through her head till she felt quite deafened. Yeah. She started to her feet, uh, and sprang across the little brook in her terror.
Угу.
Here is the scene.
И что?
Here is the scene. And had just time to see the lion and the unicorn rise to their feet with angry looks at being interrupted in their feasts, and before she dropped her knees and put her hands over her ears, vainly trying to shut out the dreadful uproar. Okay?
Evidently.
Evidently?
I don't know.
Dreadful.
Ага.
If that doesn't drum them out of town, she thought to herself, nothing ever will.
Угу.
That's it.
The end?
The end of chapter 7.
Браво.
Yeah, we've done it. Are we good?
Think so.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you,
Goodbye.
Poeta.
Yeah.
Good night, да?
Good night to you too.